Unit 6, Speech. Marriage ceremonies in ancient Egypt. Family was very important to the Egyptians. Many love poems have been found that are very, very familiar to the modern idea of love. The average age of a girl to marry was 13. The man made his intentions known by taking gifts to the girl's home, and then arrangements were followed, and an agreement was drawn up to start a marriage, assigning portions of the man's wealth to his wife and children, and any children that they had to provide for them should a divorce occur at a later time, if it occurred. The woman also brought items into the marriage, but they remained her property and passed along to her children. In addition, the wives and children were protected by the laws that forbade transfer of valuable objects to another person without the wife's or the oldest son's consent. Egyptian marriages were monogamous, meaning the custom of being married to just one person at a time. A divorce was basically easy to attain, but it was costly. If a woman committed adultery, it was considered grounds for divorce, and the punishment was either burning or stoning. It is unclear if the same punishment was applied to the men or husbands. For people of nobility and royalty, different sets of marriage customs applied. Multiple wives were indeed common. A pharaoh was married to a queen with the distinct title of the Great Royal Wife. He also was married to several wives that were quite often arranged for political reasons. The male heir to the throne was often married to the oldest daughter, often his sister or stepsister of a great royal wife. The Egyptians believed that the male heir was the result of a major god mating with the great royal wife. And this idea led to the belief that the pharaoh was a descendant of a god or gods. Here's a standard marriage contract that were found among numerous records left by the ancient Egyptians. It contained date, contractor, husband and wife, names of both sets of parents, husband's profession. The wife's profession was rarely mentioned. The scribe who drew it up, and the names of the witnesses. The details of the settlement were also written in the contract as well. The finished document was then given to a third party for safekeeping or kept among the records of a local temple. One of the expectations of the ancient Egyptian marriage was the bringing forth of children. Sometimes there would be a trial for marriage to see if pregnancy would occur. In this trial marriage, this was all stipulated in the marriage contract. On the day of the wedding, it was really quite simple. The bride merely wore a tunic or a long dress. The bride moved all her belongings into the home of her husband. He might have lived alone or with his parents. A common term indicated that to indicate marriage was gwerp, meaning to set up a common household. The bride may have also adorned her gown or dress or tunic with silver, gold, lapis. With those two, unless she just dressed down for the moving day. Even though there was no official ceremony known to us, knowing how much the ancient Egyptians loved music, of course, as we all do, there was bound to be a family celebration in honor of the uniting couple. In many cases, the bride does not have much of a choice in who she's marrying, not even if she's a commoner or a peasant. Most common marriages are not arranged, and they do not have contracts. Most arranged marriages are with the wealthy and royalty. Since this was a practice in ancient Egypt, this is still a practice in some countries today, mainly in rural states in the Chinese, Japanese, and other Asian countries. So before you think about getting married, think about the free will that you have to marry the person that you love instead of the person you barely know and who has been selected by your parents instead of your own will. Marriage is not to be taken lightly, so please, people, make sure that you do it with all your proper intentions.